So what's up guys, welcome to the video. In this video we're going to be talking about mental health in dating and how to improve your mental health and keep check of your mental health so that you don't lose your sanity while trying to date. I would say this video is more directed towards men. I think women can have mental health problems during dating as well, and maybe I'll get into that a little bit in this video as well. But this is mostly going to be directed towards men, since I think men overall go through more mental instability during the dating phases than women do on average. But I'll still touch on both genders, since I think I kind of want to be somewhat neutral on this channel, as in I want to touch on both men and women, not just men, so that it's a little bit more varied, I guess. Not that I actually know if how many women would actually watch these videos anyway, but either way, I'll get into both topics. I think it makes sense to touch on both topics. So let's get to the video. So first of all, I want to talk about methods of improving your mental health during dating, and this pretty much applies to both genders. So when you're dating and you're going through a tough time, maybe you're just in the phase, you might not have any problems yet, I think it's good to early apply a lot of these things. So you want to keep, first of all, a few self-improvement habits in here. So like do journaling, it helps. Getting your thoughts out on like a paper helps a lot with just getting everything out of your head so you don't keep it there. You might think journaling is kind of trivial and it's not very useful, but at least till I tried it, and now that I've been doing it consistently for like a couple of years or so, like maybe a year really consistently, and then I've been doing it for a couple of years. It feels pretty good, and I feel like I can get all of my thoughts out on paper. It feels good. Another one is meditation. You should meditate at least a little bit, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes a day if you can. Helps clear your mind. One way to meditate, for example, is go in your bed and just be there for like 10 to 20 minutes, laying down, eyes closed. If you fall asleep, you fall asleep, but that's one way to meditate. It's just be laying on your back, don't change positions, and just lay there and be. And that's one thing that's really easy way to meditate if you don't want to do the sitting down thing. Not everybody does it the same way, so you can kind of vary your methods of meditation. Another one is just being mindful of things, so you don't overthink everything as well. Now, another thing that you could do to improve your mental health during dating is treat yourself well. So maybe take yourself out somewhere, eat well, exercise, do all the good habits for yourself. Remember to focus on yourself, that helps a lot as well in keeping your sanity in check, so you're not thinking about somebody all the time. So you need to have your own things going on as well. So that's something that you need to do. Now see, there's a lot of guys who get very, you could say bitter, angry, and all these other things when it comes to dating, because they take rejections very personally, and in fact it affects their mental health because of that. Some things you can't take personally if it's not actually personal, but even if it is personal, you should still try to just move on. And I think I can't say everybody should have an abundance of options or you should have an abundance mindset, but I do think you should apply some kind of abundance mindset in life, because without that abundance you're never gonna make it anywhere in life. I've gone through the transformation of going from like a total loser to what I am now, and I feel like the abundance mindset kind of grows with it as you become better and you start feeling better about yourself. That's when the abundance mindset comes in, and once you get a bit of experience in the field, and that's when it really kicks in and you feel better about yourself. That's something you definitely need to work on if you want to inherently get good results at all in the dating market. It's just avoiding taking things personally and just moving on as fast as you can if it doesn't work out and things like that, and not taking too much stress over things, because that's when you're gonna fuck up your mental health really fast, basically. Now, as for women on this perspective, I think for women it's a little bit different. It might be, women usually have more options, but they might not have so many good options. So I would, if you're a woman and you're going for guys who are way better than you, or you consider better than you need to be careful to an extent if you're not of high caliber, I guess, because you're going to get your heart broken probably, and you're gonna get used and things like that. And that could completely destroy you and fuck up your mental health. So you need to take these things seriously and work on that. And you know, everybody struggles in dating. It's not easy, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It kind of is what it is, and you kind of have to take it as it is and just not take it so personally and take it too badly. Now, obviously, if you've been trying for years and you've not had any results properly, that's when it can take a toll on your mental health, and that's when you might think about giving up and things like that. I don't think it makes sense to give up on anything in life, personally. I think so, because if you give up, it's like, why? Like, you're gonna live regardless. You might as well use the time wisely you have and just not give up and try again. I mean, you might get lucky at some point. That's kind of how you go about it. It's the same thing with anything, really, unless you're just living a mundane life. You want to strive for something better. Now, if you've had a divorce and maybe you've had kids and all that, then I would leave it up to you. If you want to pursue something further, if you're just kind of done with life and you want to live on your own and enjoy life, that's cool. But I would say, at least for the younger guys, you should try. If you've not really had anything real like that yet, and like a big divorce and things like that, trouble, then you should definitely try at least. I understand the older guys though, who have had bad experiences and so on, and fallouts, so then I understand if you might not want to pursue anything anymore, and that's cool. I respect that. But anyways, to the next point. Now, I think why most people struggle so bad in dating overall is just the fact that they haven't taken the time to focus on themselves and improve themselves till they're at the point where they can actually date. And then these people they don't have the mental game to go through dating. This is for men, I would say, mostly. Though I do think women should improve as well. It makes sense. But women are usually already kind of improving themselves a lot more than men a lot of times nowadays. I notice women are way more serious about things than men are. So I'd say I'd direct this more to men to become better. You need to really assess your own situation and how valuable you are as a person and what can you bring. I think both genders should think about what they bring to the table in that relationship or dating, whatever. And that's where it can really get going and get something going with two people. Now, I think a lot of guys think they deserve something, but they haven't actually worked on themselves to be able to deserve something. And that is, I think, kind of ridiculous of a mindset to have. But I see a lot of it, so it's kind of something I wanted to mention. Is a lot of people think they deserve things for no reason. But yeah, I wanted to just talk about that. In general, deserving things like finances, doesn't matter if it's relationships, anything, you need to work on yourself so you actually deserve those things, at least quote unquote deserve, according to your value, so that you could have those things. Life doesn't always hand you out things, but you can certainly work towards them and be more able to deserve things in your life. That's what I would say as advice on this point, pretty much. Now, with that said, the current culture in dating in general is pretty toxic. There's a lot of bad behavior, and you have to act a certain way and so on. But I think you just have to find that person for you where you can be yourself, at least to a large extent, be yourself. Of course, there's always going to be a little bit of like a game that you have to play, but at least there's a part where you can be mostly yourself, and that's the point you want to be at. That's when you have healthy relationships. Find yourself a person who doesn't play games with you and is real, honest, communicates with you, responds in a timely manner, and things like that. Just basically look for green flags when you're dating, early in the dating, so that you can find somebody that you could actually see something happening with. Now, that's the most important thing. Now, if you have for red flags, it's pretty obvious, at least for me, in my experience, you see red flags straight away if somebody's a red flag, and it's very easy to avoid. So if you go be with a person who is a red flag, or try to be, that's your own mistake. Every time I see red flags, I run away, personally, because it's a waste of time and it's a waste of effort, and I wouldn't get anything out of the experience. So I don't see any future with that. So you have to find that right person for you. that aligns with you and your values, morals, personality, things like that, and interests. That's what you really need to work on. I also wanted to touch on women and the way women should navigate the dating market. I think for women should improve themselves to the point where they feel really good about themselves, and once they feel good, then they should look for the best option, obviously, that they have. It only makes sense. Men do the same thing, women do the same thing. I think women should do that because women only get one person. So if you're gonna commit to one person, then you wanna make sure that person is good for you. So you wanna vet all these different things about them, and you want to make sure that they only have green flags and not red flags at all, or at most like a couple. And you really wanna find somebody compatible with you. I think for men there's less risk, at least early on, till you're like maybe in a marriage or something and you're about to share everything, your property and things like that. I think there's less risk for men and more risk for women in relationships technically and so on. But overall for women, I would say improve yourself to a point where you feel comfortable, and then you can go after what you want and find a suitable option for yourself. I think there's no reason to be like super picky about small things and preferences and things like that though, which is something a lot of women fall for, is preferences. You should instead look for more personality, ambition, things like that, or achievement, rather than just low small preferences like, oh, he's 6'2" and the guy's like 6 foot, so he's gonna get rejected because he's not 2 inches taller. I think that's dummy, and that's something I would give as a tip to the women when it comes to the dating market, as far as like dealing with the problems of the dating market as a woman. It shouldn't be too bad since you have a lot more options and it's easier to kind of filter out. But I would avoid dating apps and things like that. Just same thing as for men. Avoid dating apps because you're only gonna find trash in things like that. They are pretty much hookup apps and you're not gonna find anything serious, at least there. So I would avoid that. Anyways, in conclusion, I think for both men and women the modern dating market is very hard to navigate, and I think you should overall, you can take my advice and you can take your own experience as well as you learn things. Take other people's advice if you want, and just get your own perception and reality on dating. Find what you want. I can't tell you what you want out of dating. I know what I want, and I know exactly the things that I want to look for in a person as soon as I meet them, and that's the best way to go about it. It's not that hard. It saves you a lot of time when you know what you want and you're not just going for anything just because you're lustful or things like that. Learn to separate lust and a lot of feelings and things like that, and actually figure out what you want on the long term, rather than focusing on the short term feelings and things like that. Like, oh, I want somebody right now. Like, focus on the long term rather than the short term feelings. That's my main advice here. You're gonna save yourself a lot of trouble and things like that. Obviously the short term leads to the long term as well, so you have to use both, but just be cautious of your short term feelings and things like that. Otherwise, for the mental health aspect, in conclusion, just do good habits to make sure you stay good while in the process of doing dating. And you need to make sure that you remember all the things that might affect your health, and learn the things that affect your mental health, and learn to avoid them, or to at least avoid them the best as possible. And if you can't avoid it, then learn to cope with it the best you can with the different methods. And you can develop your own methods as well that you find good for yourself. And that is all for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. If there's a will, there is a way. Thank you for watching.